All right, it is for the weekend, your local swell tracker. Thanks for being here, Wave Riders. GQ dropping it in for you, and wanted to do a little hindcasting going back to about a week ago. We see some fetches in the Tasman Sea, some up here getting way above of New Zealand and sneaking through Samoa and Fiji, and that's what we've been seeing the last several days. Recently, we've been seeing the top reports have come in. There were a couple spots that did see a couple 5-foot sets, and the biggest spots we're seeing a little bit more of those 4-footers. Most spots were solid, thick 3 feet with the long periods, and this is the guy right here, the culprit. That dissipates, but then we get tons of fetch coming up with a captured fetch, actually. That's when the low pressure storm out here to the east of New Zealand is moving up our way, the storm center, and the fetch follows it. So that's why they call it a following or captured fetch, and that allows the seas to grow to their full potential. The fetch, if I rewind this just a little bit here, at the peak was about 1,000 miles long, the apparent fetch, which is super long. So we should have a long-lasting event, forerunners filling in later on Sunday, and then filling in even all the way through Monday, getting more consistent as she goes, and even lasting with 3 to 4 foot swells at 14 to 16 seconds. Now, the National Weather Service is saying that it will not reach high surf advisory levels, but the criteria, according to them, is 8 feet in the face, which we would call about 4 feet plus. And I'm going to forecast that the top spots will see even a couple 6-foot sets, unless it gets downgraded. But we are for sure going to see 8-foot faces or solid 4 feet out of this upcoming swell for 2 or 3 days. And this is the fetch right here on the hindcast models from StormSurf. Thank you, Mark. Okay, clicking it in, you can see it comes right up our way, even gets quite above New Zealand, and then ends up underneath New Zealand. So the swell will start out south to south-southwest and end up being a south-southeast swell by Wednesday, Thursday of the upcoming week. Okay, now we're looking at today, Saturday the 12th. We've got a storm, a powerful one, high winds right underneath French Polynesia, Tahiti. But watch the track. It's going the opposite way we need it to. However, because the winds are so strong in that guy, we should see some 2 feet, 15-second south-southeast swell coming in next weekend, Saturday through Sunday. And hopefully we'll see some solid 3-foot south-southeast swell out of that guy right there. We have another softy from the Tasman Sea right here early next week. That could bump us up as well. The models are showing that could get 2 feet 14 seconds for Monday and Tuesday, the 21st and 22nd. That's the guy right there. And then after that, we kind of go quiet. All right, I wanted to take you back to the 4th of July, and you look off of the Philippines down here. This is the biggest typhoon, a super typhoon named Neoguri. I think I'm pronouncing it almost correct. And this guy was the most significant storm on planet Earth. Watch this thing build as it moves right towards the top of the Philippines, Luzon, and slams Taiwan. And they got huge waves, 20-25 feet, and guys were taking it on. It slammed into Okinawa, etc., and dissipated. But then we saw some of it get out towards the Kurils. It was pretty weak. However, this section, we may see some west-northwest out of it. The models are claiming just 1 foot of open ocean swell at 14 seconds to come up Wednesday the 16th through Thursday the 17th, and that's going to mean, ankle snappers and knee knockers out of that. It was a gnarly storm, and hopefully we don't see too many of those, but it's a very active season there in the tropics. The Philippines gets on an average of about 20 storms, not that big, but they get about 20 storms during their season, which is pretty much starting now. Okay, clicking in the animation and now focusing over on Hawaii, we are looking at the high pressures pretty much dominating and the wind swell dominating for country on wind wrap. You can see the arrows and the isobars all pointing from the east to northeast, and trade wind swells are pretty much all we've seen, with few minor exceptions of soft west swells. and one slight chance of some background west swell from this source here Wednesday the 9th. Let's just wait and see if we get anything out of that, maybe for the surf schools at Chun's. All right, taking a look at the current models, all the blues showing the high pressures. Trades are going to be weakened. I'll get to the weather here shortly. There's the low from the remnant Neoguri. Moving in the animations, we see another storm heading right towards Luzon. Check this one out. This one gets big too. I'll tell you, being on the Philippines right now, they're getting waves, but they're also getting real wet. Letting it loop around again. Trade wind swells will diminish as the trade winds diminish, and then they'll get back into gear next week. We do see some troughing happening next Thursday, Friday. We may see a just background, again, 1 foot west energy from this source. All right, taking a look at the jet stream down under, that's the main deal going on. The jet stream is split. We don't get swells much from the northern branch. We get them from the southern branch, and we don't need blues on the east coast of New Zealand. We need deep purples. Starting in the animation, you can see that's pretty much the scenario. So after this next run of swell, we're going to go into quite a lengthy quiet period with a few minor exceptions, and I have that on the big picture, and I'll show you right here too. And even the jet stream up here in the North Pack shows potential to, again, bring us out of mill pond flat conditions up there in the North Pack. Not a bad sight to see for this time of year. Okay, taking a gander here at the hand-drawn surface charts, we have the high pressures off here to our northwest and off here to our northeast, allowing for a stable trade wind pattern. There is the ridge to the north as well, and it is moving our way. It is going to be weakening, as well as the trade winds. These locally fresh trade winds are going to be out of here, but then, we'll see them come back probably next Wednesday, Thursday. But there's a trough approaching the islands from the southeast, and it'll bring muggy conditions, mainly windward showers, typical stuff, and more comfortable conditions towards the middle of next week. So those trade winds over the islands, driven by the ridge, the blue line right there, and thanks also to the highs centered northeast and northwest of the islands. There's the remnants here, hand-drawn of Neoguri, up off of the Kuriil Islands, and we have a lot of troughiness off here to our southeast, some remnants of Fausto that came from Baja. It's about 700 miles east-southeast of Hilo right now. Now we jump up to the upper region. You can see those cloud wisps in the jet stream that's hovering over the islands right now. And then over here we see the remnants of Fausta, some upper-level lows spinning up there off towards California and in the Gulf. Overall, fairly decent for us. And these water vapor loops are showing features 20,000 feet up, and they're kind of messing up right now. We'll drill down here and show you a pretty animation all the way off to the west coast. Drilling down a little bit further, you can see the cloud wisps up above in the jet flow, and then down below an east-northeast flow to the clouds with the trade winds moving at about 20 knots. Our highs are in the upper 80s, lows in the mid-70s. We're looking pretty good these days. And taking a look at the loops showing the rain, it's pretty evenly spread. Mostly dry, windward and Mauka showers, the usual. And let's finish off with a beautiful animation here showing that big storm south of Tahiti that'll bring us up after this next week of swell. The winds are spinning down with the high pressure. The high pressures flow counterclockwise below the equator here. You can see the trade winds flowing here ever so beautifully in paradise, and that is your local swell tracker. Catch you back here next weekend. Aloha for now.